Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "Women are nothing but machines for producing children." At first glance, this statement sounds crude, even offensive. But to dismiss it without context is to miss the painful clarity behind it. Napoleon wasn't speaking from a place of hatred. He was speaking from disillusionment. From the eyes of a man who gave everything to his mission and found that his greatness, rather than being loved, was feared, resented, and misunderstood. Powerful men, the truly ambitious, the visionary, the relentless, do not live normal lives. They are consumed, not by selfishness, but by purpose. Their minds are a battlefield of strategy, of future empires, of movements yet to begin. They are not present in the way a partner may desire, because their hearts do not beat to the rhythm of routine. They beat to the call of history. Greatness demands everything. And in that devotion, there is no space for constant reassurance, for emotional handholding, or for becoming small to be palatable. Napoleon understood this contradiction, not just as a general, but as a man in love. His letters to Josephine were filled with passion, longing, even desperation. He begged her for loyalty, for understanding. But what did he receive? Betrayal. While he was shaping Europe, she was chasing comforts, lovers, and distraction. This broke something in him, not just as a lover, but as a man who believed that the greatness he embodied would be enough to inspire devotion. It wasn't. And this is the cruel paradox. The more exceptional a man becomes, the less emotionally compatible he seems to those who crave safety over struggle. Women may say they desire a strong man, a powerful leader, a visionary. But when faced with the real thing, a man who burns with obsession, who disappears into silence, who bleeds for a future only he sees, they retreat. Because that man cannot be domesticated. He cannot be made to orbit around someone else's emotional needs. Instead, many women seek something familiar, something manageable. They gravitate, consciously or not, toward the mediocre. The man who is always available. The man whose life revolves around her. The man who doesn't challenge her comfort but reinforces it. He isn't chosen for his strength, but for his lack of threat. He won't disappear into his work at 2:00 a.m. or be consumed by a vision. He's soft clay, shaped by her expectations. And here lies the tragic irony. She may love him, but she will never truly admire him. Because deep down, she knows she didn't choose a king. She chose a servant who looked like one. Napoleon saw this. That's why his words about women came not from contempt, but from bitter observation. Most did not understand the kind of man who chooses conquest over comfort. The kind of man who walks into storms because stillness feels like death. He didn't reduce women to their biology out of misogyny. He did it because too many of them, in his experience, chose predictability over passion, familiarity over fire. He learned the hardest truth a man can learn. The higher you climb, the lonelier the path becomes. Not because you want to be alone, but because few are willing to walk with you. Fewer still can understand the cost of your fire. Look around today. The world glorifies success, but only the kind that doesn't threaten its comfort. It celebrates excellence, as long as it's entertaining or beautiful or wrapped in humility. But true greatness, raw, unapologetic, demanding, it terrifies people. Especially in relationships, because a man consumed by purpose isn't interested in validation. He's not here to be emotionally available. He's here to win, to build, to become a legend. And that kind of man is unbearable to those who crave emotional leverage. Most people want someone who makes them feel like the center of the universe, not someone who orbits a mission larger than both of them. The man who burns for something greater cannot be controlled with affection, nor seduced by comfort. He doesn't pause when she cries. He doesn't halt progress for insecurity. He leads, and that alone is a threat. Napoleon lived this pain. He commanded armies, conquered nations, but in love, he was brought to his knees, not because he lacked emotion, but because his emotions were tied to purpose, not performance. His downfall in love wasn't due to arrogance. It was due to incompatibility with the emotional script society demands from men. A script where softness is rewarded and ambition is punished. Let's be honest. Most women today, like many throughout history, say they want a driven, focused, masculine man. But when they get one, they complain about his silence, his distance, his hunger. They praise ambition but punish obsession. They admire greatness from afar, but in their homes, they desire companionship, not conquest. So where does that leave the great man? Alone. Not because he prefers it, but because he outgrows what the world offers in exchange for comfort. A man with fire in his soul and vision in his eyes cannot trade it for predictable affection. The price of becoming unstoppable is being unloved in the way ordinary men are loved. And that's the ancient deal. Empire or intimacy, legacy or comfort, but never both. You may be asking, why would a woman reject a disciplined, visionary, relentless man? Why turn away from someone who can move mountains in favor of someone who barely moves the needle? The answer is this: great men are mirrors. They reflect back everything others are not. Their silence exposes neediness. Their focus exposes insecurity. Their discipline exposes weakness. And people, including women, don't want mirrors. They want escape. To be with a man who needs nothing, who isn't afraid to walk alone, who doesn't seek approval. That is not romantic. That is terrifying. She cannot mold him. She cannot domesticate him. And that's the silent fear she won't voice. She cannot control him. So she chooses the man who pauses when she doubts, who orbits when she cries, who makes her feel like the sun around which he spins. He will be loved, but not respected. He will be cherished, but never truly followed, because what follows does not orbit. It ascends. And the man who ascends walks alone, not because he seeks isolation, but because comfort cannot rise with him. The higher he goes, the thinner the air. And most women, most people, cannot breathe that high. This is why many great men are left, doubted, resented, not for their failures, but for their fire, for the intensity of their presence, for the demand that being with them requires evolution. And most aren't willing to evolve. They want to be loved for who they are, not for who they could become. So do not envy the man who is always held, always loved, always safe. Pity him. Because while he may be embraced, he will never be admired. While he may be accepted, he will never be followed into greatness. He is comfortable, but forgotten. And you, the man who burns at midnight, who disappears into a vision only you can see, you were not rejected because you were broken. You were rejected because you were too much, too intense, too focused, too dangerous. But never forget, the world bows to danger. It follows the man who bleeds for a mission. It remembers the names of those who walked alone into battle, not because they hated love, but because they loved something more: purpose. No woman builds statues. No woman writes history. No woman leads a nation to war or truth to light. Men do, and they do it alone. So stop asking why she didn't choose you. You already know. She didn't want fire. She wanted warmth. And you, brother, are not warmth. You are fire. And fire, though feared, always leaves a mark. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos.